We're in a very unique place right now where people are kind of getting backed into a corner regarding Israel-Palestine. There are those who want to speak up about the issue, but either are too afraid to speak up, their opinion may not jive with the powers that be, because we all know the people who have the most power in this country are in favor of what Israel is doing right now, for one reason or another. But then occasionally you'll get somebody who steps up and does the right thing and will speak truth to power in a way that is absolutely necessary in this moment. And one of those people who decided to speak up and speak real truth to power, maybe somewhat surprisingly, but maybe somewhat unsurprisingly, because occasionally he does nail it right on the head. And that is John Oliver. But is it really any surprise? I often say that a lot of times the best opinions we get about our politics in this country, especially on the more neoliberal type channels, tend to be from people that are not from this country. Every once in a while, Mehdi Hassan will have a good take. Every once in a while, Ali Velshi will have a good take. In this case, every once in a while, John Oliver has a pretty good take. And here's what he had to say about Israel-Hamas. Oh, excuse me, Israel-Palestine. Let's stop equating Israel and Hamas. That's what the media wants you to believe, but it's really Israel-Palestine. Here's what he had to say.
But perhaps the most surprising way that Netanyahu has actually jeopardized Israel's safety is that for years he deliberately used Hamas as a way to undermine the Palestinian Authority, a rival to Hamas which administers parts of the West Bank and has much more legitimacy on the world stage. Experts say that the idea was basically divide and conquer. If Palestinian leadership remains split and one of the main parties at the table has a terrorism label on it, it's going to be much easier for Netanyahu to refuse to engage with them and say that he has no partner for peace. Here is Smotrich explaining that strategy out loud in 2015.
The Palestinian Authority is a burden, and Hamas is a terrorist organization that no one will recognize and no one will give it status in the ICC. No one will let them lead a decision in the Security Council. The main pitch we are playing now is international delegitimization. Hamas, at this point, in my opinion, will be an asset.
Hamas is an asset. If you are calling the group that has repeatedly killed your people an asset, it shows pretty clearly that what you care about isn't safety, but total control. I'm talking about America, because this country has emphatically picked a side. In recent years, we've given Israel $3.8 billion a year in military aid. And you can make geopolitical arguments for why that is or isn't a valid thing to do, but it means we're heavily implicated in everything you've just seen. Just listen to Bassem Aramin, a Palestinian whose 10-year-old daughter was killed by an Israeli border guard in 2007.
My daughter have been killed with American rubber bullet, unfortunately, from an American M16, unfortunately, from an American Jeep, American uniform. And the soldier have trained in America. So everything is American.
Right. Everything is American. And I know that is hard to hear. But the fact is, made in America is something that we understandably love to brag about when it's slapped on things that we're proud of. But unfortunately, it's not just tractors, truck nuts and Toby Keith songs. Sometimes it's stuff that's killing people.
That takes a lot of guts. And I'm glad that John did that because, you know, he was willing to say what a lot of people are afraid to say. And who's to say that there isn't an executive at HBO that's going to see that clip and say, well, he's out of a job. Pronto. And remember, guys, if you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. This is going to really help get the channel out to more people, and hopefully they'll be able to see it and, see what our discussions are about. The goal of our show is to transform politics into service. Our goal by constantly talking about what's going on in Gaza is so that more people like John Oliver, who can reach not a few thousand people like we can, but a few million people like he can. And that makes a significant difference because while a lot of people may be paying attention to what's going on, they're getting the story a certain way. Obviously, for the most part, when it's corporate media, they're only getting it one way. John Oliver is going to allow a lot of those comfortable liberals in many instances to pause and think, oh, when you put it that way, you're right. This actually is terrible what's going on. Maybe a ceasefire is the answer to at least till we get things settled. Now, we all know that a ceasefire is only temporary. It's not the end all be all to solving all of our problems that we have right now, but it will make a difference. It'll make a significant difference in a lot of people's lives. And I, for one, applaud John for having the courage to do that. Because if you look around at a lot of others in corporate media, they don't have the courage to speak truth to power in this regard. They're not going to say what is necessary. They're going to say what's convenient, what is going to allow them to skate by just a little while longer. Because from a corporate media perspective, everything's all about how do you extend your career for as long as possible. The clip that we talked about briefly on Status Quo a little while ago, with the Jordan and I had broke down, was Andrea Kramer on, Andrea Mitchell, Andrea Kramer, my apologies, both to anchors on TV that actually look quite similar. Andrea Mitchell was very tepidly trying to suggest that, maybe bombing hospitals with children, infants in them is not such a good idea. And then you have John Kirby, who's one of the most bloodthirsty neocons that are in politics. It's just, it happens. It's what it is. I really think that the tide is going to turn. But the one thing that I think is different with this particular political scenario than most others, there is no coming back from this. The lines in the sand have been drawn. If you were on the side of what Israel has been doing, if you're not asking questions as to how we got here in the first place, the fact that Gaza is basically an open-air prison, the fact that, or a concentration camp, as Jen likes to say, the fact that the intention of the IDF is to basically mow the lawn completely and eliminate the Palestinian question from Israel and turn it into a Jewish state. This is what it is. This is mass murder in real time. And while a lot of people are looking around thinking, well, how's this going to end? Well, I can assure you that with the people in charge right now, it's going to end worse than you think. It's not just the fact that you have all these people that are being killed right now. It's the fact that you also have wildly spreading disease. Remember, you're talking about people that don't have clean water or food. What do you think is going to happen? Hearing reports of all different diseases, including hepatitis, that's been spreading all over the place. What do you think is going to happen to these people? And not only in terms of the mass genocide, but how many terror cells you think, frankly, how many terror cells have probably already sprung up as a result of what's happened in the last 4 to 5 weeks? It's a big problem.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.